Well, Justin Masterson, we just want to start off by saying thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to do this interview with us. We won't keep you too long, but we all three do have 2 questions each we want to ask you. So I'll go ahead and start off by asking my first question. So we know that one thing that's apparent in baseball is that it truly takes hard work, dedication, and a whole lot of patience to work your way up from high school up to the majors. And I know you spent time at San Diego State, Bethel College, you played amateur baseball at the Cape Cod League, and you had your winding journey through Boston's minor league system. And after you joined the Portland Sea Dogs in 2007, you said that you had confidence to be a great pitcher all along. Even though you went to a smaller school, you still proved that you had the ability to pitch and that you never worried about what route you were taking. So my question to you is, how important is it for players in the system to lean on self-confidence even when the odds are stacked up against them? And how did your own self-confidence improve your pitching and elevate you to the major league level?
Golly, that's a very in-depth.
I know that was a mouthful.
I mean, I'm hoping you read that and then just popped that off the top.
No, I had to write it down. I couldn't just remember that.
No, I'd have to say, like confidence is a great and wonderful thing, and you need to have it. You need to build it, but there's also a part where. And technically it wouldn't be called confidence, but you believe in yourself too much that you don't listen to the advice that comes around you. So I like to think that for me, and for any athlete that's going at it, or for any person like yourselves, whatever you guys are pursuing, is you need to have confidence in what you're about to do. So within that, I'll take it back to what really helped me when I was in high school. My pitching style is I got a low 3/4 arm action, not sidearm, but not too far away from that. But I'm a really tall guy. So theories would say that you got to get like up on top, get that arm angle super duper high up so you can get a downward angle. Well, that didn't work for me, but I had like a Red Scout or something tell me like, hey, you should try it. And so I tried it out. It didn't work very well. And so I went back to what I was doing and found success with nice movement, everything like that. And then we move on. And so again, confident in myself, but enough to listen and then go, nope, that doesn't work. Not that you have to try everything. But then I get to pro ball, and I'm out in Lancaster, California, and my pitching coach, I'm with the Red Sox organization, single A ball. My pitching coach's name is Bob Kipper, and the organization had just told me, like, hey, we got a really good fastball, but we need to work on our slider, maybe our changeup and some other stuff. And so during the beginning of the season, I'm throwing changeups and sliders, and I'm giving up a few more hits than usual. And my pitching coach, he gets in my face after one of the games, and he's like, Messi, what's your best pitch? I'm like, well, it's a sinking fastball, Kip. He's like, well, you throw that stinking fastball until the hitter turns something different. I don't care what the organization says. I don't care what anybody says. You throw that stinking fastball because it's your best. And like that moment right there was another, we have all these different ones that come, but that was like a really big turning point of just, you know what? This is what I got. They say you can't pitch in the, especially be a starter in the big leagues with only 2 pitches. But I'm going to show them that you can. And sure enough, if you have success in what you're doing, then you're going to have an opportunity to make it to the next level.
Wow. Well, that's really cool. And really cool to see you taking that confidence, but also carrying that confidence with, learning from other people, and then that boosting your confidence even more. I think that's really cool to see. And I'll go ahead and ask my second question. I'm really intrigued to know this one, but throughout your 8-year career, we know you spent time with the Red Sox, the Indians, and the Cardinals, so you obviously played alongside some MLB greats. So I just want to know, do you have a personal favorite teammate of yours throughout your MLB career?
Oh, man. See, it's hard. I was just thinking about this because I played with a lot of really, good people, in the overall sense.
Right.
I'll try not to be too long-winded on these, but, you bring it up, so I don't talk baseball a lot, unless people ask the questions.
Right.
But one of the first guys who came up to me when I made my big league debut, I'm in the clubhouse, was Josh Beckett. And great pitcher for the Red Sox. Won a World Series with the Marlins back in the day. And the first thing he said to me is, "Hey, Masty, what made you good in the minor leagues?" This is what Ryan Dempster told me when I came up. "What made you good in the minor leagues will make you good here. Like, you don't need to change anything right now. Just be yourself." And leading up to that, I had heard so many relatively disparaging things about Josh Beckett. Not a good team, likes himself, kind of gets angry, watch out when you're around him. And yet he was the first guy to come up and really was a kind guy altogether. Even at the end of a season, we were supposed to, they dress the rookies up and do all that. But because of him, they didn't go as hard on me, because he's like, "Nah, you know what? This guy's been pretty good. Let's just let's go a little bit easier on him." So he's one that's like a surprise that comes at it. But if we're going some of my favorites, like Dustin Pedroia, he is my favorite second baseman.
Yeah.
He is just the greatest. I still remember one time he's not very big, and I'm pretty big, and he runs his mouth. He's got a lot of confidence. Well, he asked me a question, and I didn't know what he said. And I said, "What did you say?" And he looked at me and he's like, "Dude, I'm sorry. I was just joking. I didn't mean it." And I was like, "No, really, I didn't hear you." But but then you go like Cleveland. I had Michael Brantley, who just retired. He was awesome people. Joe Smith, Sidewinder pitcher who we share the same birthday. Josh Tomlin, the little cowboy. Jason Kipnis, amazing second baseman. I mean, the list there just goes on and on, because a bunch of young guys who played together. So I ultimately blessed to play with a lot of really good people who are just nice guys.
Right, and that all seems like a really cool experience, of course. So thank you so much for allowing me to ask these questions. Now we're going to shift it over to our host, Stephen Lambert, and he has 2 questions for you.
Hey, Justin, how you doing?
Great, Stephen.
All right. Well, mine's going to be kind of a little short and sweet. I'm going to have a little bit of hopefully a little ambiance to these questions. But the first question that I've got for you is, okay, looking back on your career, you've had so many hitters that you had to face over the course of it. So I wanted to ask you, who was the one hitter that you had to face where you just go up to the pitcher's mound and you go, "Oh, no, not you again"?
Well, I mean, honestly, it's going to sound really crazy, but in one certain year, which was my all-star year, it would be Don Kelly, who was on the Detroit Tigers. And you're like, "I don't know who Don Kelly is." It's like, exactly, because he would hit 9-hole against everyone else, but he would be in the 4-hole against me. And just a lefty utility guy who, they'd score 3 runs, and usually it was off of a 3-run home run by him.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's really good. There's always that one guy that I was like,
expect.
you just, it's like no matter what I throw to you, you always have something.
Well, it used to be, I call him Drop It In Don Kelly, because he just I couldn't get him out, but he'd just drop it in over the second base, over second base, over third base. And then I throw him this nasty back foot slider. He does the Adrian Beltre drop down to one knee and just whips it for the fence in Detroit. And then we're at home later that season. I'm like, "All right, I'm not going slider. I'm going heat." It's 96 at his, I don't know, just above his chest. And he just gets on top of it and hits it out. And I'm like, "This is ridiculous."
I'm telling you, that's a great story. All right, so the next question that I have for you, Major League Baseball, it just has shifts over each generation. You retired 10 years ago, and my question to you is, what's been the biggest shift in baseball that you've seen since you've retired?
Oh man. The positive shift that I've seen is I wouldn't say a fan of, but I'm not against the pitching clock. Just that idea of certain guys. I love working fast. I think it's great when pitchers work fast. Keeps the game moving, keeps your players in the game, and I think that's something where it's motivated other pitchers to keep on moving and keep on going, and I think that's positive. One of the negatives is the fact that, we reward guys more for homers than average. And so we got more guys. Like when I was playing, Carlos Pena was like the only guy who was batting like 200 but had 35, 40 home runs. And now you have a lot more guys who averages aren't as good, but home run is good. And I know there's lots of metrics and science or whatever to it, but on a personal level, as a baseball fan, that doesn't always excite me.
No, I completely get that. It is very interesting how we are like measuring all these metrics when it comes to like we're not talking about people that can get on base anymore. We're talking about guys who can hit the most home runs in a season. And you see teams like the Dodgers, for instance, measuring their lineup just based off of like, hey, we're going to try 1 through 9. 1 through 9 guys that can hopefully get us like 30 home runs each year.
And again, I know the data and the stuff that backs it up, but it is just really hard, especially when I'm coaching high school and my son who's in 4th grade is coming up, and be like, yes, I know what you see those guys are doing, but here, let's see if we can, literally, if you just make some contact and drop it up over here, we're going to score runs. Up there, they feel like, yeah, this guy will give us a home run every once in a while, and that gives us better percentages than if he were to get on base or if he made contact, because then he'd hit into a double play anyways, so we might as well just strike out. That is, yes, it's a little difficult for me.
Don't want to forget those fundamentals.
But I appreciate you so much for taking the time out of your day to answer these questions. I'm going to turn you over to Jackson, the man that you've been talking to, and he's got a couple questions for you.
Thank you again, Justin, for taking time out of your day to do this interview.
Yeah, man, no problem. Thanks for having me on.
In 2013, with the Cleveland Indians, you were elected to the All-Star game, and that team in 2013 also had a good enough record of a 92-70 to make the playoffs, which I had the privilege of going to that AL wildcard game. What was the All-Star game atmosphere in Citi Field like, and what was the playoff atmosphere like compared to a regular season game?
Oh, man, it is, All-Star game was awesome. You get to go there and, you're playing with just the best players who are doing their thing. I mean, it was neat. I felt humbled in one sense because, I was the manager's choice, so Jim Leland was a big part in helping me get to that All-Star game. But you're hanging out, Max Scherzer's on the team, and Torrey Hunter and Mike Trout and all these other guys. And then there's just Justin Masterson, and I didn't actually get to pitch in the game, but it was still amazing. It was cool, like hanging out on the side during home run derby. My daughter was little then, and she's just walking around, hanging out, watching it from the side there. But really, the coolest thing was it was Mariano Rivera's final All-Star game. So it was the last time, he's retiring, and he goes in the 8th inning, and we joke because sometimes you can see it on video. I'm the person who opens the gate for him, and I got these bright Adidas yellow neon cleats on, and then he starts going out, and you just see me just sitting there clapping, just like, go get him, buddy, go get him. But it was fun talking to him. He's good people, so it was awesome talking to him. And then you get, like in Cleveland, opening day is amazing because it's sold out. It's a packed house. Throughout the season, it's not usually as sold out. We had some years where you get a few more fans here than everyone. Everybody watches on TV, though. There are tons of fans who are watching on TV. But you get to the playoffs, and you just get that sold-out crowd who's loud and hungry. And that year was really cool because we won 10 games, the last 10 games of the season in a row in order to make it to the playoff and get to that wild card game. Now, unfortunately, we lost to the stinking Rays, but such is life. The Rays just seem to be a thorn in my side whenever I make it to the playoffs, but it's okay. We don't need to talk about that too much, but it's just amazing.
All good.
That's amazing. And I know you used to play for the Cardinals, my favorite team. Maybe if you stayed with the team a little longer, which I hoped, we would have won a World Series that year. But these guys all give me crap for being a Cardinals fan. So, man, I really wish you stayed with the team a little longer.
Well, they've been joking. My coaching staff here that I'm part of in high school, they were joking that I should go to the Cardinals right now because we got a bunch of Indiana guys there They signed my boy Kyle Gibson. They got Lance Lynn coming back. I mean, I think there's another one, and I think they're like, hey, all these Indiana boys are there. Might as well add another one in myself, because that's where I've been living for the last 16, 17 years in Indiana. But Cardinals are nice. Unfortunately, when I went there, though, Jackson, it was I wasn't as healthy as I would have liked to have been, and I think had I been healthy, might have been a chance to stay there a little bit longer.
If you wanna come to Atlanta,
That's crazy.
we'll welcome you with open arms.
That's
We
it.
like that too.
Hey, you know what? I don't mind the ATL. It's they got the new stadium. It's nice down there.
Right, exactly.
There's some good people.
We'd love to have you, man.
All right, with my second question, when you made your major league debut in 2008 against the Angels, what was the best advice you got as a young major leaguer that has stuck with you to this day?
I mean, some of what I said about Josh Beckett, like what made you good, and to get you to the place that you're at, will continue to help you to be good. It doesn't mean that there aren't adjustments that will need to be made and things of that nature, but a lot of times you get to the next level, and you're like, oh man, these hitters are so much different, and I got to do something different to get these guys out. And through it all, it's like, no, just go out there and be you. Let the confidence shine and just see what happens. I think some of the people that I've seen do the best maybe weren't always the best, but they just lay it out there. They just say, this is who I am, here we go, and we'll figure it out as we go. And that's kind of it. And then I think what was also great about coming up with Boston is there was that hint of like positive, well, I guess some people take a negative pressure, but I think it was positive of like, hey, you perform or you're not going to be here. Like, no offense, we don't hate you. It's just we're here to win. And so we call you up, come in, do your job, we're going to love you. If not, we're going to find another guy who's going to come up and do it. And so like that early bit, I don't know. I like a little bit of pressure. I think it's fun. I imagine you guys do too. If you're putting a show on there, there's a little bit of pressure that comes with it on the performance side of things. And so it just adds, makes it so much more fun. And I think that bit in itself also added to just the enjoyments. And it wouldn't necessarily be advice, but I think that would kind of flow in the same direction.
That's amazing. And I have one final quick question. You've been given nicknames like Nasty Masty, Big Masty, Bat Masterson. What is your favorite nickname and why?
Oh man, that is a good question. I haven't thought about which one is my favorites. I'd say probably. It depends on situation. Because not everybody, I don't necessarily want everybody calling me it, but like when I hear my parents or my best friend's dad and a few people like that, when they call me JD, there's just something special about that when I hear it. Not that I always need to be called it. One of the, Masty, definitely love that one. But one of the ones you didn't mention, which is a joke between my dad and I, is my dad's a pastor, and so his name's Pastor Mark. And we go through where I call him Pastor Mark. And so then he started calling me Pastor Mark's son. And so we just have this little back and forth. And he write it down. And he's like, thank you, Pastor Mark's son. It's like, you're welcome, Pastor Mark. And it goes to, I was at Bethel College. Now it's called Bethel University. But my sophomore year, I was hitting. And we're in like I think it was a conference playoff game. And we're down, I'm pitching, we're doing pretty good. Then got a runner on, and I'm up to bat. And my dad pops in, and I just hear him yell, "Let's go, Pastor Mark's son." I think he just popped in. And literally in that moment, I'm like, all right. And I don't do this all. I was like, this one's for you, Pastor Mark. And sure enough, next pitch, homer to right center. We take the lead, end up winning the game. Just a really cool experience altogether.
Wow.
Well, man, I wish I had a cool nickname like that.
I think Nasty Masty's got to be a personal favorite of mine.
I do like that one. I do not. That's one where I enjoy when people say it, but I don't usually like to say it myself.
Right.
'Cause, I don't know. It feels like there's something, like overly arrogant. It was like, yeah, I'm nasty, masty. So when others bring it up, I'm like, oh, I guess I am nasty, masty.
That's amazing. Well, unfortunately, we are running out of time here on Zoom for this interview. Again, I'd like to thank you so much for taking time out of your day to do